for governor. And then he asked me to do interview dry run for him to be the branch officer, and he made it.
Thank you, Laura.
He's really, really. I really admire him. He has a lot of titles, as you know. He's a distinguished Toastmasters, and if you don't know that, like normally only 2% of members can reach to this level. Just like Mr. David, he knows that like Eagle Scouts is about 5%, right? Can reach to Eagle, but yeah, Toastmaster is 2%. So that means a lot to as a Toastmaster member. And McNeil is also a branch officer working in SEC. It's called Security and Exchange Commission. Besides that, McNeil is also a yoga expert, and I know he participated in the competition, right?
Last year, this summer, yeah.
And he's really good. I see a lot of those posts, and I can only watch. And he's also a ballroom dancer, a great one. And if you watch those videos, beautiful. And he's also an education advocate and a loving father with 2 boys. So I don't know how he could do all this with his busy schedule, and especially he's the officer. So now let's welcome Mike Nee to give us the secret in how to be successful, how to break the glass ceiling. And so let's welcome Mike Nee.
All right, thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. Especially, I appreciate you have this flattery and complimentary word on me. I just did what my basic instinct tell me, just to try new things, learn new things, enjoy the fun part, being curious. With that, I also want to thank David. You were giving your time up from the World Series. Today is a very important day. You know, the World Series, the baseball.
It's Game 7. Yeah.
David, can you talk about why this is important?
Well, this is Game 7. So in the in the World Series, you play the best out of 7 games. You have to win 4 games. And so far, the Houston Astros have won 3 of the games, and the Los Angeles Dodgers have won 3 of the games. So today, whoever wins this game is the champion.
So far, Houston has a better chance, right? 5-0.
Yeah, it's 5-0. Right. Yeah, Houston's doing well. The starting pitching for Dodgers, Yu Darvish. He's Japanese. I don't know if you know who he is, but when I was in Japan, they have his picture everywhere because there's not many Japanese pitchers playing in Major League Baseball, and he's like the big star. He's half Iranian, half Japanese, but yeah, he's not doing well today. They took him out of the game after just 1 inning.
That's so bad.
But the games always last very long. It's I've been going to bed at like 1:30 in the morning because the games just take forever. This World Series, they go on for a long time. A lot of scores.
Oh, well, meaning our 1 hour will not miss too much of the good.
No,
good shot.
after accident reduction will probably only be the 8th inning. I'll be able to see the ending of the game afterwards.
Yeah, so you mentioned good things, which is a few expressions using from baseball. We use that corporate world. For instance, in the ballpark, right? In the ballpark. The other one is we are in the 9th inning, right? Meaning we're almost done with the finish line. What's the other one from baseball?
Out in right field. It's like that was
in the right field.
Right field. It
means
like you're out in the middle of nowhere. Right field is, if you don't have the correct expression, it's like, oh, you're way off in left field or way off in right field. It means you're nowhere close.
Mm-hmm.
In the ballpark means close.
Yeah, you just said one word, ballpark, BALLPARK. That means like a general.
It means in the ballpark means you're close.
You're close. Okay.
Right. It means like, well, at least you're in the ballpark, is how they say. It's like, well, you may not be exact, but I'm in the ballpark, which means that I may not be playing in the game, but at least it's in the ballpark. It's in the stadium. It may not be it was close.
Right.
That's why they say, well, you may be playing a baseball game and I'm not on the field, but I'm in the ballpark. At least I'm close to the field. So when someone says, at least you're in the ballpark, it
Yeah, at
means
least you're one of the members
right.
on
It means
the
you're
ballpark.
it means you're close.
You're
it means
close.
well,
Close.
I may not be exactly. If I say, I have $100. It's like, well, you may be in the ballpark. It means it's
close enough.
Close enough.
I encourage everybody to think of any sports words sent over, because we use it all the time, from president to the CEOs. Just like sports vocabulary is very powerful.
Yeah, strike three.
Strike three, yeah. Strike three 就是说在一在二不在三是吧？strike three. What's the other one? I threw a hardball question, right? A hardball question.
Mm-hmm.
A softball question. So that's a few things we can use. All right. So I like the way we talk about what's happening in the current world. Then we provide some. In the past 10 years, I pay special attention to improve myself. Right. I think Laura mentioned that yoga, ballroom dancing, public speaking, it all follow the same principle, which is you practice and you get evaluation and you get better. Right. Practice, evaluation, and get better. So today, I welcome everybody to evaluate my speech and also try to learn something from me, and you can carry it on to your own life.
Mike, I don't know if you saw, I was going to mention the other day in the Washington Post, they had a whole big article about China and how women, in theory, are equal in Chinese society, except in the government. They have less women in government now than they used to, so they're getting pushed out of the side. And I guess there's only like one woman that's in politics. So they were trying to prevent the what we call it, the glass ceiling in America for women. But because China, at least in the society, they're supposed to be equal. But I guess the new president, has pushed out a few of the women, and now there's only like one. So it's not quite as.
You see the recent China 19th. What's that Congress of the right? Nothing.
Plenary.
None of them. None of them.
All guys.
All
you know what?
8.
I think I have an answer, David. Maybe Xi Jinping's wife is very jealous. She doesn't want any women around her husband. Maybe that's why. Yeah. Anyway, so the reason I pick this glass ceiling or bamboo ceiling is we are well educated from top tier colleges. We come here, get a best degree, but most of the time we couldn't break through. We can be a junior analyst or mid-tier manager, but how can you break through to the top echelon? That's just probably one of the most frustrating challenges we face every day. So I give you some advice. How can we break through? And you practice, you learn, and also go through that and try to see how apply or enhance your life. I'm going to give you a few things today. One is why the communication skills or soft skills are important. And second is how to communicate at the work. Okay, that's my two most important areas. I have a few tips, and also I run a few exercises. I want Mars, Haitao to give me, even Lisa. You guys will be my, I call the performers today, actors today. You're going to do practice. We'll give you a real-time evaluation. How about that? Okay. There are a few questions. Haitao, can you read this part, please, Haitao?
Yes. Junior level professionals. As a junior staff, have you felt pressure from senior level staff to complete more tasks than you can handle? What is the best communication style method to decline a task from superiors without jeopardizing the relationship? How to suggest a change or improvement to a current team process without being labeled as show-off?
Okay, so junior people tend to have these challenges. Okay, that's what I get from Ascend, which is Asian Pacific Leadership Organization. They ask us to think about these questions. And for mid-level, Laura, do you want to try this for mid-level, meaning senior analysts or managers?
Okay, middle-level professionals how to transition from a junior level employee to manager, how to grapple with the new demands of a new senior role, including team management. What's the best way to balance social team gatherings with personal responsibilities? How can you stay ahead of current trends and seek wider-ranging knowledge beyond your industry expertise?
Mm-hmm. So that is the mid-level people face. Well, this is a tough question. I'm sure you have more questions than this one. I think, Lisa, do you want to try next page, which is a senior level? Hold on a second, Lisa.
Senior level professionals. How can you, as a leader, manage change effectively while meaningfully including others in the process? How can you, as a leader, continue to inspire in non-traditional ways? What's the best way to manage internal stakeholder and politics?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Internal stakeholders? What's that?
Meaning the board members, CEOs, the C-suite, yeah, or even the major shareholders, right? The stakeholder, 就是什么攸关方是吧？我们中文怎么说呢 ？shareholder 攸关方是吧 ？Somebody can.
Stakeholder is it's like a stake, so it's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like a board member, one of those board members. Yeah.
Yeah, the key decision makers.
Persons. Mm-hmm. Yeah, key decision makers.
Good. All right. So with that, I'm going to introduce I call the building blocks. So you have a few things you can think of. Everybody has some areas to improve on. Nobody is perfect. Starting from bottom, which is a growth mindset. Probably have you heard this book called The Mindset? So we'll talk about this book later. So this really help you to think in a growth way, in the open-minded way. For instance, you are naturally curious to new things. You want to learn new skills. You want to expand your responsibilities. You don't have the self-complacency. Self-complacency 就是自我满足的意思哈。So you continue looking for growth. That's the growth mindset. Based on that, you can build certain things. I think Toastmaster, we mentioned how they change our lives. And a verbal advantage is the tool to build your vocabulary. We'll talk about later. And action reduction, we've been doing that for almost 2 years. That is our, I call the signature program. And a small talk. I think the small talk probably the most, I call the problematic area in our life, which is we don't know how to do small talk with the typical, American society people, professionals, supervisors, or even social settings. Small talk is for us, is our 是我的硬伤哈. We don't know how to do it. I think Lisa would, Yu Bo-hong will share her thoughts with you. Then Dale Carnegie, right? You probably know Dale Carnegie. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a very important book and influenced my life. And How to See It Work. That one is very good, which is how to communicate in different challenging settings in the work. And Never Eat Alone. This is about the social networking and socializing. So that's the blocks I personally benefited. I'm going to share mine with you in a little bit. So do you have any questions, guys, for the blocks?
No question. I guess one comment I'll make is it also depends on who you're talking to and what type of nationality they're from. Because I deal with the Italians, the Germans, and the French a lot. And you find out the Italians are totally different than the Americans. The Americans, when you talk to them in a business setting, they're very much to the point, just talk about work. And you tend not to want to talk about small stuff. You don't talk about people's kids, their wives. You just don't do that because in America you get in trouble if you start, getting into too much small talk. But when you go to Italy, they will not talk to you about work until they know you. And the only way that they know you is go out to dinner with them. They do a lot of small talk. At lunchtime, it's forbidden to talk about work. So they'll have 2-hour lunches. And the Americans, when we go over there, the Americans will take a 30-minute lunch, 20-minute lunch, and try to get back to work. And at lunchtime, they talk about work, talk about the meeting you're in. The Italians get very upset. They say, you will not talk about work at lunch. You talk about, the families, you talk about vacations, and you'll take 2 hours. And Americans get very fidgety because they want to go back to work. And the Italians will say, you Americans, you do not know how to relax. You have to relax and, just go with it. And the Italians will not work with you until they like you and know you. Mm-hmm. The French are very similar. You can't just come into a work setting and start talking to people and expect that the meeting will go well. You have to know them on a one-by-one personal basis.
Yeah, you mentioned a good thing is at work, I have a Portuguese bank went bankrupt. The bank in Portuguese, that we tried to reach out to the bank officers in Portugal. They said, they have a 2-hour lunch. They are somewhere in the restaurant. We're just very frustrated. The bank is already, run out of money. You guys are not even worried. You still have 2-hour lunch. So that's their style. Okay, I'm going to move on to a few tips. One is I personally benefit, which is books on CD. The tip number one, there are 4 tips I will share with you. One is books on CD. Try to get a CD of books you want to listen and play with it and listen to it. I think Lisa, can you share some of your personal experience, because I encourage you to do the same thing. Can you share with us?
Yeah, sure. There is a book, the name is called Do Talk to Strangers. It gives you pretty much a variety of topics that you can talk even to a stranger. And it gives you some very useful skills to open the conversation with literally anyone. And that book is a very thin book with only 100 pages. I think that book helps me a lot.
Yeah, Lisa, have you tried books on CD, like audio file when you drive? Have you tried that?
I got one, but I didn't listen to it that much. The book is called Never Eat Alone.
Yeah. I found is we always, probably in DC, thanks Lisa, traffic jam is everywhere, right? You easily can sit in traffic for 35 minutes or 40. So I use the books on CD all the time. I have a few books on my side. I listen. For instance, recently, my son is really big on the flying. He wants to be a pilot, commercial pilot. So I got a book called the CD called Sully. This is a Sully Burger. He's a U.S. Airway 1595 pilot. Landed emergency landing at the Hudson River several years ago. You probably know that, right? There's a movie about it. Tom Hanks played. So the CD is all about his personal life, about flying, about how to deal with the emergency. And I just play that CD with my boys. They really enjoy that, and I also encourage them to know more about the career. So books on CD benefits me, benefit my kids. I really want you to think of that also. Every day, pretty much, I would say every year I can listen to 20 to 30 books on CD, meaning you can read 20 books, 30 books while you're waiting in a traffic light. So that's my advice. And how to listen. So you listen 3 times. First time you listen, you try to get the gist of it, the key message, right? And the second time you listen, you try to mimic the tone, the pronunciations, the vocabulary. You try to get that part. And the last part is you try to pay special attention to the small words, adverbs, prepositions, etc. Because that's small things we tend to miss. So that's the CD, books on CD technique. Anybody can share your experience? What's your favorite books on CD? Anybody? Linda, do you have anything you want to share? Anna? Any other people have the books on CD experience?
Yeah, I always use, it's not book on CD, but I do use the Overdrive, and that you can borrow the free audiobooks from the library, So I like to walk every day. Every time when I walk, I listen to all kinds of audios, like accident reduction. I think I listened to that at least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, that's good
a
book.
lot of things.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So this table number 1 is listen to the audiobook. Because
I have one thing. I remember when Lisa was talking, she said verity instead of variety.
Variety.
So I've heard of people use the same thing. Asians will say verity, like instead of saying a whole variety of books, they say verity of books.
Variety. Good point.
Variety.
Thanks. The second tip I have is taking notes. Probably many times you go to conference, training, or even Toastmaster meeting. So there's a tip I share with you is when I have a note taking, I have 2 columns on the left and the right. On the left side is your training content related, your profession, right? Your finance, accounting, technology, your content related. But on the right side, I write down their special takeaways from the communication perspective. For instance, some people talk about a joke. People laughed, but you didn't get it. They mentioned a movie or name, you don't get it. So you just write down the name you're not familiar with, or the movie, or the humor part. Then you come back and research, Google that, try to find out what's this about, why people laugh, I didn't laugh. Or if the person used a very good expression, a word, or the idiom, you found, hey, that's a very good way, then you write it down. So you use this way to accumulate not only your knowledge, but also the communication tips, right? How to open the speech. For instance, today, I did not jump into the workshop directly. I talk about the World Series, right? We talk about sports, because that's loosen up people. Some people are late, some people are rushing from the meeting to another meeting. So give them time to cool down, to settle in. Then you start your main contents. So every small technique you learn and then you apply. So that's why when I take notes, left side is your knowledge-based things. On the right side is the communication-related expression, things you're not familiar with, a cultural element. Anybody have any thoughts on the note-taking technique? Jeannie, what's your technique when you take notes from your meetings or even training? Jeannie? All right, I don't know. Okay, that's why now move on to the third tip is join us every Wednesday. This is our week 108, 108讲. This is our weekly workshop. We cover over 2 years of time frame. The first 20 sections all about public speaking accent reduction, from vowels to linking to intonation, etc., etc. And started from the week 21, we started TED Talk, famous movie speech, Toastmaster World Champion speech, some political famous speech, I have a dream, etc. And a special topic. We have David talk about the Boy Scout. We also have Yukong talk about the equal opportunity for education. We also have Elisa Chen talk about public debate. We also talk about Peter Liang. So special sessions, we cover a variety of things. So this is our week number 108. So I encourage you to join us, practice, because it's free and also give you awareness. Remember, talk about the open mindset, because the more you learn, the more you find you need to learn, because it gives you this insatiable appetite to learn new things. That's how we grow, right? Haitao, can you share your experience, what you learned from this weekly workshop? You have been here for quite a few.
I think not only about language, but also American culture, like David introduction about Boy Scout and some other TED Talk.
Yes, we learn. We learn quite new techniques and new expressions. Every time we learn something new, right? From culture, to technique, technology, to new topic. Lisa, why don't you share your experience? You've been with us for quite a few months already. How do you learn? How do you like it so far?
I have been interested, obviously, in accent reductions because I attended somebody else like training course, and after that, it's just on your own basically. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, I just realized like it is important to have somebody to be your coach. So I was like I found this. I think Laura posted, on the WeChat group. So I saw it a couple of times. I was like, what's that? But one day I just clicked on. So I was so glad I did. During the experiences here, I think, because you guys have, because for me, I work by myself, I have my own, business and everything. So, but I do talk to people, as clients, they came in, I do talk to them. And, but with this workshop, I actually, the topics you guys introduced to us is very, is some topics are very current, about events, what's going on around the world. And some of them, like with that, I learned some knowledge, and also with, very detailed explanation from who's a native, American speaker here, David. Did I get his name right? I think David, yeah, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so he's always given some good points about, deep into American culture. So I'm glad that he correct on me on the things I probably won't realize that. Mm-hmm. So, I'm glad I found this. Yes.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. This is all about open mindset. You learn new things from each speech, each exercise. You use a few words try to reduce that. It's called a crash word or a filler words from Toastmasters. We try to reduce, like, etc. All right, let's move on to tip number 3 is about pay attention to the career-related topics. For instance, how to master the idioms, business idioms, how to deal with the politics, how to get yourself out of trouble, how to use the sports words in corporate America. We have a few sessions, and all these things are very handy. You can ask for slides from me, or I can give you a special tip. But at work, you have constant opportunity to express yourself in different ways. Conflicts, politics, people blame you on bad things. How do you host a conference call, right? How to do the negotiation, how to perform performance evaluation or feedback to the staff. So always something you need to think of. So this is not a one-shot solution. It's a constantly learning and self-reflecting and improving your work. Maybe we can do a small exercise. I think I always like exercise. Let me see what's the best way. Haitao, you're an accountant, right?
Yeah.
All right. Bo Hong, you're also an accountant. She's there? Yeah. I think Haitao, your phone is kind of a little bit echo. Why not? Who is here? H, are you there? H? H? Okay. Lisa, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do exercise. Is Wendy, are you available to talk, Wendy?
Yes, I am. Okay,
so let's do this. Wendy, you are a manager in the accounting firm. I don't know your profession. What's your profession, Wendy?
I'm a user experience specialist.
Okay, user experience. Let's say you have a deadline as a manager, and Lisa is your staff. She's preparing for her exam for CPA, and she's also working a few engagements. Now she's really struggling time-wise. But now, as a supervisor, you give her another thing. Lisa start to worry about her workload, and Lisa try to negotiate more time with you. All right. So you are the manager one day. You have your deadline, your priority from clients, user client. But Lisa try to negotiate more time or try to get out of this deadline. So okay, you guys can talk. I'll listen.
So should I start?
Sure.
Okay, Lisa, we need to have the report back to the client by next Thursday. To make sure we do that, we need to finish that in advance. So I'm thinking of having a draft by Monday. What do you think of that?
Hi, Wendy. Given my multiple concurrent projects, I really doubt if I can submit the draft on Monday. Could I do that on Tuesday or Wednesday?
I understand your situation. We definitely want to deliver a report that's good enough for our reputation. Mm-hmm. What about a draft by Tuesday? COB, the latest.
Mm-hmm. I think I can do that Tuesday if it's a rough draft.
So then that gives us only one day to make updates, finalize. Mm-hmm. Do you think that will give us enough time for a final version by Thursday?
It's kind of in a rush, but given my current progress with the other concurrent projects, I think I can only submit a draft with a good quality on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. I guess we will just do it by COB Tuesday.
Okay, all right. Give a round of applause to Wendy and Lisa. Thank you, guys. I put you on the spotlight. You are delivering very well. You present in a clear way, professionally, and nicely, politely. I like that. This situation happens all the time, right? You are overworked. I think in Chinese professionals, even true, because the more you deliver the work, the more work piled upon you, because the management think you're good. They give you more work. Become a vicious cycle. You got it? Yeah. So how to get out of this vicious cycle, not become a working horse? You not only work, also you should get rewarded by your performance. That's a very, I think, it happens all the time, this challenge. Lisa, when you respond to Wendy's deadline, try to think of 3 techniques. One is I call tell you your hesitation. Second is provide your rationale, why you are hesitated. Right? Third is provide a solution. Okay. There's a book called How to See Good at Work. I'm going to share it with you later. They provide these 3-4 different techniques about the situation. So you probably can say, I'm very excited. Wendy, thank you so much for giving me this important engagement. I know this affects our reputation. Client is at stake. We need to deliver high quality. So you try to acknowledge that. But at the same time, you say, I have a few projects with other managers or clients. They are coming into a tight deadline as well. This is your rationalization. The third part is you try to provide a solution. You could think of solution is, what about let me talk with my current manager or client, try to see, do we have any room to push off their deadline. If that happened, I can work on your project one day. If I couldn't move their deadline of my current ones, do you mind ask, as you said, we can deliver a few days later, or we can ask another analyst or associate to work on this. So you try to provide solutions. So state the fact, provide the rationale, then you provide solutions. I think that's the technique I have used to learn. Laura, David, do you have any thoughts from their way of negotiating timelines?
Yeah, I have the same situation. I'm the workhorse.
You're the workhorse.
I had like 20 hours overtime for the past 2-3 days.
Yeah, how do we learn to say no, but without jeopardizing your reputation? We need to find a way. Because in real life, the more you do, the more productive you are, the people more they depend on you. You got it?
I know.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Then the easy guys always go home early, play sports, enjoy the family time, and the poor guys like you keep working. But at the end of the day, they get the same evaluation. So not much difference. So you feel, what's this about me?
So in relation, so based on what you said, I actually do have a kind of problem. I'm trying to figure out what to do related to overworking and how to negotiate with the work amount, the amount of work you need to do. So I don't know whether this is off topic.
No, it's not off topic. There are a few things. One is the perception or the image matters. When you set up your image as a workhorse, it's very hard to change. You got it? So you need to be very careful when you have your current profession. I think Lisa just going to join the professional life very soon. So you try to create a image in a balanced way. Okay, you are not submissive or subordinate. You are not only taking command. You try to find a way to show you are dedicated, but also you deserve fair treatment. Okay.
But I guess, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Why not we listen to this audio? Okay, this is called Great on the Job. Let's listen to this piece. I'm going to play the audio file, then you try to see what's this author about, recommended.
Pushing back. What happens when you're asked to do something, or simply directed, forget the ask, that you can't possibly do? You simply don't have the capacity. How do you respond? Just as blindly accepting a task that you don't know how to do is never a good idea, refer to Chapter 5, Ask for Help, neither is accepting an assignment that you don't have time for. If you're maxed out, it's imperative to communicate upfront to your manager that you can't meet a specific deadline. Hiding the truth typically gets you in far more trouble than raising a red flag early and coming up with an alternative solution to stay on point, on task, and on time. Deborah Lopez, Junior Editor, HappyPrints.com. Deborah Lopez was a junior editor with the layout and design team at Happy Prints, an online printer of modern photo cards, invitations, and announcements. Deborah reported to two senior editors, Michael and Sarah, who oversaw a team of editors and production specialists. Business was highly cyclical at Happy Prints, with lead times for custom orders often doubling during the busy holiday season. Deborah had been a newly minted junior editor in November, when orders started rolling in faster than the Happy Prints team could handle. Suddenly, Deborah was responding to requests not only from Michael and Sarah, but from other team leaders in different divisions, and from other more senior editors. Deborah was exasperated. She was putting in long days and quickly realized that she couldn't possibly meet everyone's competing requests and deadlines. Deborah realized she was going to have to manage her workload aggressively to keep her head above water with her bosses. In this case, managing expectations wasn't enough. Deborah needed to go one step further and push back on her team to avoid an impossible situation. Deborah needed to propose an alternate solution instead of just communicating her plan of action to her colleagues and supervisors at Happy Prince. When the next person came knocking with a request or demand or plea for help, Deborah was armed and ready to respond. The strategy: push back. 1. Highlight issue or problem. 2. State rationale. 3. Propose a solution. Jason, I'd love to help you out with your project, but I'm totally swamped right now. Highlight issue. I'm on deadline for 4 invitations over the next 48 hours. Unfortunately, I have no time to review your edits. State rationale. I can do one of 2 things for you. I can take a look at your projects starting Thursday, or I can reach out to Michael to see if he can find someone else to review these invitations for me so I can take a look at your work earlier. Propose a solution.
So that's the solution she proposed. Look at the way she explained the situation. I love to work on this project. It's so exciting, but I have a few deadlines. Can I have a few days later? I can start reviewing work. So use a very sincere tone. So you're not pushing off the deadline, but more you're waiting to help, but you just don't have bandwidth. So I encourage you to buy this book, both on CD. I think CD is more important, more effective because the reader can give you the tone, right? It can give you how can you convey this difficult message without offending your supervisor. So this book is a good one. Okay, just to recommend. Wendy, do you feel that's helpful?
Yes, this is definitely, I wasn't aware of this book, so I'll make sure to check it out. But I guess my situation is different in that I'm the senior person trying to make someone else work, and then I definitely feel they're not doing their job well enough, so basically I ended up, putting in more hours and try to
finish their job.
Work done.
You get a 1 paycheck, but you do 2 people's work.
Sometimes it's like that. So that's, I guess, it's not exactly the same situation.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what kind of tips you can.
I don't know, David. Do you have something to share with us? Do you tend to step in to work for them? I mean,
well, the problem is I work for the government, so whether you work for the government or you work for a union, there's rules in place to prevent people from being overworked. But the problem is some people take advantage of that rule and they underwork, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I have people work for me that just don't try because they don't care. The government, you're going to pay the same amount of money where you work a zillion hours or just your 40 or 30. So you have to take other methods of giving incentives. And to me, the incentives are we have to work different shifts. Sometimes we have to work first shift, second shift, or third shift. And I say, if you're not going to help me out, as much, if you're not going to try that hard, well, we're going to put you on third shift, when the test comes up. So you have to have some incentives. The ones that work really hard, you won't have to work the weekend. They say, well, you haven't really worked up to my expectations. You're going to have to start working the Saturday and Sunday shifts because, so you give incentives to the people that work hard, you get the disincentives for the people who don't work hard. And, you work real hard on a weekend, you don't have to work the next weekend. If you don't work that hard, well, you're working both weekends. So sometimes money isn't something that you can do. I also do with my younger employees, the ones that are like out of college or so. It doesn't take much money or anything to really get them excited. They're used to getting little trophies every so often. So I'll take, when iTunes used to be very big, I would give a guy a $20 iTunes gift card. And you give a $20 gift card to someone who's 50 years old, it's like, they'll throw it in the trash, who cares? But you give a $20 iTunes to a 21-year-old or a 22-year-old, they think they just won the lottery. It doesn't take much money at all, but I'll just sit there and give them a $20 gift card, and they'll work for me forever.
I see.
I'll give a 6-pack of beer to some of the union guys, and you give them a 6-pack of beer, and they'll do anything for you because it's not the it's the extra things that aren't necessarily part of their job, but you give them something that's just, whether it's a Starbucks gift card, some beer, it's like a present that's out of the ordinary, and they love it.
I hate that. That's why, like, our mentor gave us fish. He gave me rose. He gave me cookie. He gave me snacks. He gave me everything on place on table and asked you to do so many things.
That's why you. Or that trigger you. Do you know that's no free flower? He has something you want to get out from. Yeah, Wendy, there's no true or false situation. You try different way, try to observe what's the other person's incentive. Okay, you try to find a way to reward that person. That's the better. Wendy, do you have children at home?
Yes.
Let's say you ask your boy to wash the dishes, and they just play iPhone. They don't even listen. Then you yell a few times, they don't do anything. It ends up what? You clean the dish, right? If that happened, then the kids will have the dependency. They say, no matter what, I just don't do it. Mom will do it anyway. For your staff, same thing. If you tend to step in and do the work, the guy said, you're always more experienced than I am. I just do the bare minimum, I'll go home, then you finish the rest because I have nothing to lose.
I mean, yes, that's sometimes I feel that's what's happening. So
you don't get your staff spoiled. Be fair. I call it tough love. You be fair, but still tough. Tell the consequence if you don't do the work and quality on time. Anyway, we are running out of time. We need to move on. This is a very good book called Vocabulary, called Verbal Advantage. Have you heard of this book? The reason I'm recommending this book is because English is our second language, right? We have a very called a rigid vocabulary. We know certain words, expressions, we tend to use it, all the time. But for the same situation, you can use 5-6 different expressions or choice of words to express. Different situations use different words can give you a totally different result. And the science shows that the more words you know, and the more compensation you get, the richer you are. Because the way we write things, we say things, the choice of words enhance your image, enhance your credibility. The reason I'm saying that is, more word doesn't mean you overuse it, meaning you don't show off. Okay, you don't use the word so 生僻生涩, nobody understand. That's a show off. The power is you have so many different words to choose from. In the right situation, you pick the word, and the word is very powerful, make the perfect sense. Then you impress the client, you impress your supervisor, and you have better chance. Especially for writing also, because the better the way you write, the better chance you have an important assignment. So I encourage you to study this book, 3,500 words, based on the frequency and the level of difficulty. This 3,500 words, only 5% of the highly educated people know that. Assuming you get a college degree in the US, you may not know all the 3,500 words. So this is give you a good chance to get a leg up. I want to play this one audio file for this book for just one sentence. Can you see this word called, David, maybe you know this word, ebullience.
Ebullience?
Ebullience, okay. Let's listen to the...
Word 21. Ebullience.
Ebullience.
EBULLIENCE. Lively enthusiasm, high spirits, bubbly excitement. Synonyms include exuberance, exhilaration, and effervescence. The words ebullition, ebullient, and ebullience all come from the Latin verb ebullire, to boil, bubble. The noun ebullition literally means a boiling or bubbling up. It may be used figuratively of an emotional outburst, as Lisa was delighted with her husband's amorous ebullition on their anniversary. The adjective ebullient means bubbling with enthusiasm, overflowing with high spirits. The stadium was packed with thousands of ebullient fans. The noun
Okay, so that's the book called Verbal Advantage.
ebullience means
The book is not bad, only $10, but the CD is very expensive. So probably you can borrow from books on a book library, you can listen. But I listen almost 10 times. When I drive, I listen to 24 CDs. I found my vocabulary just multiplied, and it really enhanced my work quality. Because I can tell you, I write things. My paper, at work, become a role model. People said this is a good, well written paper, and I'd be assigned as a reviewer for other people's work, meaning writing work. As a non-native speaker, you can edit other people's native speaker work. It's a big message. So I encourage you to write to take this verbal advantage journey. Try to learn new words, and you'll benefit lifetime. Trust me. All right. I think that's the American accent training, and you all know that we do practice accent reduction many times. This is a good book, 4 CDs. I just play one. We can listen to this piece. Listen to this voice.
Practice stress for emphasis. Shifting primary stress in a phrase or sentence gives emphasis to words that express the main point in that phrase or sentence, and it affects its overall meaning. To see how shifting stress affects meaning, listen to a sentence spoken with normal stress, and then to that same sentence as it might be spoken in a different circumstance.
I plan to finish tonight.
Who plans to finish tonight?
I plan to finish tonight.
Do you think you'll finish tonight?
I plan to finish tonight.
Do you plan to begin tonight?
I plan to finish tonight.
Do you plan to finish tomorrow?
I plan to finish tonight.
So that's the intonation, right? 语音语调能够代表不同的含义哈。你要强调哪个字，用哪个地方要重。那么就是 it's very simple ways. Just action reduction give you a way to express your emotion, express your message in the right tone. So I think we all know that. It's we work on the action reduction many sessions already. Laura, do you try this book or you have tried that other book? Which one you use? Yeah, you forgot. Yeah, I like this book. There are 5 CDs. I think that's a good one.
Is that from Lisa Moisen?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's part of their conversations. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, this one, I think you all know this book, right? Dale Carnegie. Lisa, can you explain Dale Carnegie from his alumni, right, Lisa?
Me?
No, Bo Hong.
I didn't read that book that much. So.
But tell Dale Carnegie 是你的校友. Why not share with us why this person is important to us?
I don't know much about him. I just know he's our
Yeah. Dale Carnegie. David, can you explain to us who is Dale Carnegie? Why he's relevant to us?
I just know he's like a promotional speaker, but I've never heard him, and I'm not into that sort of thing. But I know he's supposed to be very good at giving promotional speeches.
Yeah, he graduated from Missouri.
University of Central Missouri.
Yeah, University of Central Missouri, the same school Lisa is studying now. And he went to New York, and in the early 1930s, he started to help the bank Wall Street people to be a good speaker. And turned out it's very popular. He said, why not just write a book? So this is where the book come from. So this book has been around for 60 years. How to win friends and influence people. And all these principles and the tips are still valid in current state. Let me play one session. You listen, okay?
If you want some excellent suggestions about dealing with people and managing yourself and improving your personality, read Benjamin Franklin's autobiography, one of the most fascinating life stories ever written, one of the classics of American literature. Ben Franklin tells how he conquered the iniquitous habit of argument and transformed himself into one of the most able, suave, and diplomatic men in American history. One day, when Ben Franklin was a blundering youth, an old Quaker friend took him aside and lashed him with a few stinging truths, something like this. Ben, you are impossible. Your opinions have a slap in them for everyone who differs with you. They have become so offensive that nobody cares for them. Your friends find they enjoy themselves better when you are not around. You know so much that no man can tell you anything. Indeed, no man is going to try, for the effort would lead only to discomfort and hard work. So you are not likely ever to know any more than you do now, which is very little. One of the finest things I know about Ben Franklin is the way he accepted that smarting rebuke. He was big enough and wise enough to realize that it was true, to sense that he was headed for failure and social disaster. So he made a right-about face. He began immediately to change his insolent, opinionated ways. I made it a rule, said Franklin, to forbear all direct contradiction to the sentiment of others, and all positive assertion of my own. I even forbade myself the use of every word or expression in the language that imported a fixed opinion, such as certainly, undoubtedly, etc.
Okay, so this is the book, but when I listen to the book, I can pay attention to the words he used. I can leverage in my daily conversation. For instance, undoubtedly. We know the doubt, but how many people can use undoubtedly? 毫无怀疑的. Some word he used stingy, stinging, stingy or stinging? I forgot. David, do you capture the word?
He said stinging.
Stinging meaning piercing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Criticizing. And a few words he used, I like it. I want to use in my, for instance, undoubtedly, undoubting, contradictions. I forgot. Okay, the few words. I think if you pay attention to the words they use. And they also even mentioned Ben Franklin's autobiography. That's a good book. I bought it already, but I haven't got a chance to listen yet. But I'm sure it's a good book about this famous person. Now, this last one is Small Talk. This book, I like it, called Do Talk to Strangers, creative, sexy, and fun way have an emotionally stimulating conversation with anyone. They give you all the tips about how to have a small talk with any sessions, in the work, at the work, in the conference, in the setting. And I highlight in different sections why, where, what, and 10 steps, and how to have this technique, SOUL, SOUL, meaning I forgot, storytelling, observation, understanding, and laughable storytelling technique. I think that small talk is a good thing we practice. Why not we have two people to have a small talk? Anna, are you around, Anna?
Yeah.
Okay, and 713, are you there? 713? Hello? No. Okay, H, are you there? H? Okay, now we have iPhone. Are you there, iPhone? Okay. David get tired. Okay, why not we have you, Anna, you have a small talk with David. Oh, Mars. Yeah, Mars. I'm sorry. Mars, are you there, Mars? Mars?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you and Anna, you do a small talk. And the small talk is very casual. Let's say you two met at the, let's say you met at Starbucks. You happen to be waiting in line, but you cannot stand there like boringly. You have to do something, have a small talk, right? Waiting in line, get a coffee. And the topic is, you can pick topic. Mars, what's your profession?
Actually, I'm stay-at-home mom.
So, okay,
Yeah.
your kids. What about, sorry, I forgot your name, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Mars.
Anna, right? Anna, what's your profession?
Home.
You have mom, you have kids also? Children?
Yes.
Okay, why not you two talk about the kids? Let's say you are at the soccer practice. Both of you are watching there. You have a socializing event. Both kids playing in the soccer, and you two want to chat, have a small talk. Naturally, you are all moms. You have a natural way to communicate about the kids, education, school, sports, etc. Why not you? The message is you want to know better on the other side. At least you know each other better, and also you probably can find a way to learn how the kids can know better each other, so they can be friends. So your motivation is kids can be a better friends each other. So that's your incentive. All right, you two start.
Hi, it's a nice day to have the soccer practice.
Anna.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the McLean soccer team.
Soccer, 足球.
Yeah. McLean soccer, or my son attended.
Okay, your son attended the soccer. Okay, but the other mom said it's a nice day to play soccer. So what's your response? You need to think of small talk. She started with the weather. So what's your response? You will continue the conversation, right? Yeah, because normally people start with the weather when we have a small talk. When we have conversation, you call it, you break the ice. When two strangers talk, the very safe way is talk about sports or talk about soccer or talk about the weather.
Yeah.
So
but I speak English little.
Yeah, the same like as me.
Yeah, doesn't matter. We learn each other, right? You don't have any pressure, you know. Yeah, let's say in a real situation, people talk weather, the good nice weather practice soccer. Then what's your response? Yeah, I know.
Today's weather. I don't know how to speak.
Yeah, so you can. Why not, Wendy? I'm sorry, Mars. We two try. I'll try with you. Then Anna, you learn from us. Okay. Yeah, this nice weather. I know it's getting chilly in November. I really wish we can have a few good weekends. Kids can have fun time playing soccer.
Yes, me too. I prefer my kids spend more time outdoor sports because that will really help them build up their health. I think today the kids spend too much time in the building, in the room.
Yeah, totally agree with you. It's the iPhone really steal the quality time. When we were young, we play on the street. We 丢皮筋儿踢毽子.
Yeah. I remember that. Really have fun.
Yeah, we don't go home until it's dark. Now all the children just ignore the nature, ignore the fun time. I think I hope maybe it's a good idea. We can have kids have a play date so they can enjoy hiking, biking instead of playing game at home. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, that's great. I love your idea. Especially, my kids are teenager now. Sometimes when we say, how about we go outside for some exercise or just go hiking in a park, usually they say no. But yeah, now I think the age, like they already start like hang around with their friends the same age. But if they have a friend, will go with them, I think it will be easy for them to go out.
I agree. It's just I know your son plays soccer very well. I'm pretty sure he's good at different sports. What's your son's name again?
Yeah, Aries.
Aries. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about your son? Which school? My son studied in Julie West Middle School.
Okay. My son's name is Chris. He's studying at Liberty Middle School. Yeah, we're not living far away. Probably we can arrange a few, outings, barbecue, and so we can know each other. The kids can know each other better, at least to get out of this video games.
Yeah, I love your idea. How about we exchange our contact information?
Yeah,
this is my phone number.
No, this is my WeChat.
Okay, yeah. WeChat is easier because most of the time, especially the Chinese people, they prefer WeChat more than iPhone or on the phone number.
Yeah,
either.
Yeah. So what's your name, please? I forgot to ask you.
My name is Mars.
Okay, my name is Mike. All right, nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, yeah, see you next time.
See you.
Okay. Yeah. So Anna, by doing this, there are a few techniques we do. One, we start with weather. Secondly, we mentioned about the kids. I think her concern, mom's concern, is kids to play too much time indoors, lose the nature playing time. Then we found a commonality. We have a common interest. We shared. I immediately gave a pleasant response. A recollection is when we were young, we play outside, right? We just play games outside on the street. We don't go home until late. And I think, Mars, you immediately liked my point, right?
Yeah.
I can tell, I get very close to you because I can sense you're excited by this topic. Then we move on to kids have a play date. They can do, I use the echo, hiking, biking, easy to say, it's easy to remember. Then we exchange numbers.
Yeah, so, it's a good idea if you can bring something in common or find a point that people like similar interests, something like this.
Yeah, and also I use some complimentary word. I said, Iris plays soccer very well. He's very sporty. So give some compliments, and people enjoy that. Then you build up your connection. So that's okay. I think the small talk is happening all the time. Your boss, your coworker, your mom, all this. Okay, I think I finished all my topic today. We mentioned a few books, the few technique, and we also shared. I call it open-mindedness, the open, what do you call it, the mindset. So I encourage you to learn the techniques I share with you. Learn something every day, something new every day. Try to find out at work if you become habitually into something, you want to get out. You need to find a way out. Then you need to talk with the people, your mentor, or talking to me is fine. We try to think, how can you break this stalemate? I think that's important. Otherwise, I think Laura knows that the more you work, the more they give you. Same thing apply to anybody, to any situation. So just we need to find a way to get better on that. That's all I have. Do you have any questions, guys, before we call it a day? David, what's the score now?
It's 5-1.
Oh.
Astros are still winning. So,
which inning? 7th?
Yeah, 7th inning.
Okay, so we're a good chance. So I'm sure all the fantasy baseball, a lot of people losing.
Are you multitasking?
Yes, he's playing baseball.
Well, I mean, you can't. How can you not watch the 7th game of the World Series? So, accent reduction. I'll do both at the same time.
David, can you share your screen with us? I want to see which
I'm just. You can have baseball. We'll have an app that'll give you the balls and strikes and who's up at right now.
Oh, nice.
So I don't have a TV down here, so I can. It's a play-by-play, so it'll tell you exactly what's happening. So you can just see what the ball, the strike, the hit. Good. What happens? They do a play-by-play on Major League Baseball.
So Wendy, Mars, Lisa, Anna. So definitely read the highlights for this game, because tomorrow I'm sure when we talk with the baseball moms, they all talk about the same game. It's got to know this. Yeah, you cannot ignore it. It's one of 就像我们中国的春晚 you have to know this.
That's the problem I have at work with the Asians. None of them like sports.
Thank you.
Americans all talk sports regardless. Even the girls, maybe, they like football at least, but they can at least talk. But none of the Asians, they're not into sports. They don't like sports. They don't watch sports. They have no clue what sports is about, and you just can't have a conversation with them.
Yeah, I think the second generation is better. For the first generation, it's hard, and for the men, they like soccer.
Yeah, just
because the sports that we're interested in are different. It's not we are not talking about sports like we talk about different sports.
Yeah, we talk the ping pong, but it doesn't go that far.
Right.
But
America wants football, baseball, hockey, basketball. Those are the four sports. You just have to.
David, you have a point, because if you don't join the sports conversation, you're being alienated. People just say you're not one of us. So when they have good things, they don't think of you because you're not close to us. Right. So fun. At least you can join the conversation, guys. Just read the news, ESPN news for highlights of the baseball game. It doesn't take you too much time. Even if you don't like it, you still.
Yeah, and even if you don't like the sport itself, there's always the politics behind the sports. Like even in the World Series, there's the first baseman for the Astros hit a home run off of Yu Darvish, who's Japanese, and he went into the dugout and made he did this with his eyes and called him a chinito, which means a little Chinese boy.
Oh, chinito.
The chinito, it's Spanish for little Chinese boy. So you do that. See, chinito, he was taunting the pitcher. It got caught on national TV.
Ooh.
Which is because he had a home run. So the TV is showing him, and he did that. He got in big trouble.
Because the racial
went viral. And they suspended him for the first 5 games of next season.
Wow. Because the racial slurs?
Yeah, the slur. So you don't do that. I mean, he's Cuban. So you have a minority making fun of another minority. It's just wrong. So so even if you don't like the sports, there's always something going on that you can talk about that's politics or human interest, or you talk about so and so. This famous woman, Kate Hudson is dating the pitcher for the Astros. So there's always someone, or football. Brady, Tom Brady's wife is a supermodel. So you can talk about football. Say, oh, did you ever see Kate Hudson at the game, or did you see Giselle? So you talk about, oh, did you see what she wore, or you talk about the uniform color. It's can you believe it? They wear yellow helmets and blue shirts. It looks stupid. So even though you don't like the sports, you talk about the colors of the uniform. You talk about how cute the player is. You talk about the wife of the player. You talk about something that happened about there was a racial slur. And then at least you get in a conversation.
Yes. So I always have something you can, not only sport, you can chime in different angles. That's why you get closer to other people. That's small talk comes from. You can have a conversation. I think, Lisa, when you go to accounting firm, same thing. People talk baseball. If you don't know this, you cannot join. You know that. Lisa, do you remember your summer intern program? If插不上话是吧? You feel very frustrated. So we need to learn this thing just for your own career benefits. Lisa, can you share a story with us? I remember you have this Bohong.
Yes, I did. I went to a accounting professional conference this past March, and I was having dinner with my peers and professors, and they were talking about a baseball game. Well, I was totally clueless, so I couldn't join the conversation, and the whole chat was just embarrassing.
Yeah, so we need to make up this deficiency. 我补上这一课哈，因为像 McKinsey、Goldman Sachs 这些大公司，他们招人的时候呢，他们有一个 criteria， 就是假如说你和你的同事新来的这个同事，飞机晚点 get stuck at the airport for 5 hours. Do you want to get stuck with this guy for 5 hours at the airport? If the answer is yes, then we'll hire him. If the answer is no, then we don't hire. So they are very clear. You have to be assimilated and integrated to them. Otherwise, you're not one of them. They don't even either give you the offer or they don't even include you in the important decisions. You be marginalized. You cannot be marginalized. Otherwise, you always will work. You don't get the benefits because all the big, we talk about the big boys club, right? Am I right? Boys club, big boys club.
Yeah, the men's club.
The men's club.
Yeah.
Yeah, meaning all the key decision makers, they take in some people, become their fraternity so they can benefit each other, but you are being excluded. So you try to avoid that. In order to avoid that, you have to learn how to play the same game. Not even they are not convenient, but you have to do it.
And you have to understand, in America, people have conversations and no one really cares what you talk about. You just have to talk. Sports is a very safe topic because, you can talk about sports, but you just talk and no one has a real main point one way or another. You just sort of like talk. It's something safe.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about one team against the other team. Next week it's a different conversation, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be able to get in the conversation and just talk. So suggest if you live in Washington, read the Washington Post sports section. Just read the front page, because Washington Post is very good at not talking about the actual what happened at the game. It always talks about the politics and the what happens behind the game. An owner said something about a player said something about someone else, someone gets in trouble for hitting his wife, someone should be thrown out of the game because of a racial slur. So you can always read the front page of the sports section and you find some of the editorials, which has nothing to do with sports, but always has to do with the people. So even if you don't like the sports, read that section. You have something to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, you can sign up from the Washington Post. So I got a lot of emails from Washington Post, and then I don't have time to read them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have time, you can sign up. They can send for free, and all those topics about sports, about parenting, about weather, about
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we are all done today. Just to try to learn every session, learn new things. See you next Wednesday. But Laura, I'm going to waiting for your evaluation sometime next week.
You want to hear the evaluation now?
No, that's too late. I'm getting tired.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You can record.
Thank you all.
You can use recording. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, guys. See you next time.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. 再见。
再见。
再见。